Oh, hello, this is Daily Car News with Bijan. I'm going to keep you guys up to date on everything car every single day at 6 p.m. Pacific. I hope you guys are having a great day. So I feel like this has been spy shot week just because there's been so many spy shots of different cars. First we talked about the WRX, then we talked about the A12 GTO. Now I promise after today we will go back to regular programming. I'm not just going on and on about spy shots of cars. Now this is a special one because I was just talking about this in the GTO episode a couple days ago. It's the Ferrari Purosangue. But it seems like I messed up. So, I was expecting that this new Ferrari will probably do something, copy Lamborghini, copy the Urus, do something like a turboed 8-cylinder, twin-turboed 8-cylinder, something of that matter. But a couple of spies saw the Purosangue being tested on Ferrari's Fiorano test track, and it definitely did not have a V8 soundtrack. That was 100% a V12, which means Ferrari's A12 GTO may not be the last V12 Ferrari does. Ferrari is absolutely wild for this one. They're going to stick onto that V12, it seems like, and put it in as many cars as possible. Now, some cool things about this new Purosangue, 100% not pronouncing that correctly. It was being tested at Ferrari's test track, glowing brakes, beautiful noise, was sliding around the corners. It was heavily camoed, but it was heavily camoed in kind of an interesting way. It was heavily camoed like the Maserati Levante, which it definitely is not a Maserati. That is a V12. It sounds amazing. I can't wait to see what it looks like underneath all that camo. Now, as far as news on the car, if they're testing it now, that means that this may possibly get released at the end of this year. So it'll be a 2022 Ferrari SUV sold at the end of 2021. If they do further testing or if they're developing other versions, then it may end up being a 2023 model that we'll see at the mid to end of 2022.
Yeah, so sooner is going to be better than later.
I'm going to take a guess and say that it's probably going to be an all-wheel drive version. After being seen at Ferrari's test track, it was then seen in the very cold north, probably in Sweden or Denmark, having some cold testing done. Now that doesn't 100% guarantee that it's going to be an all-wheel drive version. It could very well be a rear-wheel drive version, but I guess time will tell and we'll see soon. I'm excited to hear and see the power figures for this one because if the A12 GTO is coming out like we just talked about, and it's going to have probably just around an 800 horsepower V12, similar to what was in the A12, are they going to take the V12 from the A12 GTO and throw it into the Purosangue? That'd be very cool. 800 horsepower in an SUV. I mean, hey, they're gonna one-up Lamborghini. They might as well do it big. Now, Lamborghini's Urus only makes 641 horsepower through its twin-turbo V8. Now, I'm sure Ferrari will try to one-up them, put it somewhere in the 700s, which it should be able to do relatively easily if it throws its V12s from the A12 in it. But if they offer other versions, maybe they do offer a V8 version that's boosted. Again, I guess we'll see in a couple of months, possibly up to a year on that one. Lamborghini was definitely ahead of the trend. They released that SUV very quickly, tested it, made it beautiful, put a nice powertrain in it. But that's all because Audi owns Lamborghini. Audi's RSQ8 is basically a Urus, and a Urus is basically an RSQ8. They were able to push that out relatively quickly. Now, like Audi is to Lamborghini, Ferrari is to Maserati. So they'll probably derive one of the engines from the Maserati and throw it in there, so they're able to kind of put it together quickly. But I don't think Ferrari was expecting this big uptrend in SUVs and this big desire to have SUVs. Now we're seeing the Mustang SUV, Lamborghini SUV. The Evo is going to be like a cross-track SUV, which is so depressing. That kind of seems to be the way things are going. Now, I don't imagine Ferrari's going to make a new V12 for this SUV. They're probably going to reuse the old ones, like I've said earlier, but it'll still be exciting to see if they make some modifications, if they do a reflash to it, how it actually looks underneath all that camo. It's going to be an interesting year, interesting couple of years for Ferrari. First the A12 GTO and then this SUV. That's going to be it for today's Daily Car News. I'll see you guys on the next one.